it mean to be a witch? I pondered this question today as I was taking a walk. I'm actually still mid-walk. But I'm wearing my Witchy Woman t-shirt. And I realized that this is a question that I've had in the past. When I first realized or started investigating what that word meant to me and what it meant to be a witch. I feel like I grew up with it having a lot of negative connotations. You know, I grew up in a really strict church, and a witch was somebody who, well, it was always a woman, first off, and it was someone that like slaughtered children and animals and participated in things like bestiality. Like, seriously, why I was 10 years old and knew what that was, I have no idea, because that's horrifying. But that's what I'm saying. Like, that was seriously, the people that taught in the church that I grew up with had to use such extreme language to basically indoctrinate us into believing that witches were completely 100% evil and worship Satan and were just horrible human beings, right? I look at it now in awe and slight humor because it's almost ridiculous. Obviously, I have done a lot of work of what being a witch means and realized that that means different things to different people. And at the end of the day, the only opinion the only person's opinion whose matters is mine and what I believe what it means to be a witch. And the same goes for you. If you are just beginning this journey and not really sure, like, what does it mean to be a witch? Does that mean I'm casting spells? Does that mean I'm wearing black all the time? Does that mean that I, wear pentacles and I have a wand? Do I wear pointy hats? Like, what does it even freaking mean to be a witch? It's a great question, and it's a great start. And I love that you're asking this question, because that means that you are inquiring. That means that you are exploring and being curious about something that maybe hasn't been, let's just say in society, they've demonized that word for a very, very long time. I feel like one of the best things that I came across when I first exploring the topic of being a witch, or what that meant to be a witch, or if I was a witch, or, asking those questions, was I wanted to know how other people practiced, and I also wanted to know what it meant for me. I've been a person that's always been drawn to nature. I spent the vast majority of my childhood outside. I was either camping with my dad or hiking, or when I was at home with my mom, I was always outside. I was like literally the first person awake. I'd always be up at 6 o'clock in the morning, and I'd take my horse books, and I would go and sit in the hammock out in the backyard at like 6 o'clock in the morning and just read and be outside, because I absolutely loved the trees and the grass. I was always running around barefoot. Oh my gosh. And if I could be outside, I would be outside. So I think that there was a natural propensity for me to always be connected to nature. And when I started exploring the topic of witchcraft or paganism, dawned on me that they very much love nature. And I was like, oh, cool, so do I. So I started with a space of existing in the things that I was already drawn to. Crystals, I was always very drawn to rocks and animals and trees. And so I let those pieces kind of lead me and guide me. I also loved the seasons, right? I feel like seasons and nature really kind of go together, and turns out that most, at least the kind of pagan beliefs that I explored, particularly Wicca was one of the first ones, and just kind of non-conformative paganism in general. And then also like Celtic traditions, Wheel of the Year, those kinds of things, if you've ever heard those terms before. But I let my natural desires and my natural likings guide me. And it turns out that nature had a lot to say when I started listening. I felt like I was always around, and I probably did listen as a child, but as I got older, anybody who worshiped nature, Native Americans, right, who spoke to trees, like it was all evil and it was all sinful. And so I was really drawn away from that. And so that was something that I had to reawaken inside me as I got older. As I'm sitting here, right, when I decided I wanted to stop and record, I saw this, where is it? It's behind me. I'm looking for it. Oh, there it is. Look, I get this little flower that's growing. It's growing on the corn stalks. It's like things like that bring me joy, that help me feel connected, because it's like that flower helps me connect to my joy. And it helps me connect to my power. And then in turn, by me giving love and affection and appreciation to it, I am also returning that energy back to it so it grows. That, to me, is what it means to be a witch. It means noticing the small things. It means realizing that I'm a part of it. It means realizing that I have an energy and so does everything else around me, and that when I interact with it, I'm able to make changes to it. So being a witch to me means connecting to the things that bring me joy. Secondly, being a witch to me means using my power, the power that I have inside of me, to keep the people around me and the things I love safe. I would say that I don't do regular spells like, love spells or manifesting spells, although I do sometimes. I've been known to do a weather spell or two. And it actually works, so I'll have to admit, I'm a pretty good weather witch. But in my daily life, you know what I use my power inside of me for? I use it to protect my farm. I use it to protect my animals. I use it to protect my family. I throw bubbles on everybody all the time. I have this magical thing this amazing, incredible infrastructure of protection that I put over my chickens when I'm over my property. And it's so funny because it's not about, like, you don't necessarily have to have proof, right? If I was to sit here and say, yeah, like, I have, protection over my chickens, and it's so funny because most of the time when something happens to my chickens, I'm not here, or to my animals, to my cats or anything, I'm not on the property. I find that interesting. But that just means I need to work on it a little bit more when I'm awake. Anyway, I think that it doesn't have to be as fancy as we like to think. There's a lot of people on Instagram who are doing amazing, beautiful spells, and all these, crystal grids and just incredible things. And I love the witch aesthetic. I love seeing it. I love seeing people get really excited about doing those things. And that's their creation. That's their art. That's how they express themselves. And I think at the same time, it also discouraged me because I'm like, am I a bad witch? Like, am I practicing horribly? Like, am I even really a witch because I don't do all these things? And the answer is absolutely. Of course I am. I'm a witch because I say I am. I'm a witch because that's how I identify. That's what, that word resonates within me in the depths of my soul. It feels right. It feels so beautiful. And so I express my power or my spell working or my energy work through living my daily life, through blessing my food before I eat it, through instilling love and protection and joy into my coffee in the morning, to blessing my daughter's lunch before I send it to school with her, to blessing my door and saying that everyone who passes through this door will feel love and gratitude and appreciation for life. So what does it mean to be a witch? It means being yourself and expressing yourself every day in the ways that matter to you. It doesn't mean that you have to do all the fancy spells and cast a circle. When the last time I casted a circle? I could do it. Like, I love the formal stuff. I'm not lying. Like, I get it. Like, the formal stuff is freaking cool. Like, casting circles and, having a formal ceremony with wine and calling the quarters. It's awesome. Like, don't get me wrong. I think it's cool. And also, I'm a very practical witch. I have a lot of things that are going on in my life, and sometimes it's just me going outside and looking up at the moon and saying hello. Sometimes it's just me, like I said, kissing my daughter's note in her lunch, and that being her, it's like love. It's me putting love into that note, and then that's her little magic for the day. It's me drawing a sigil on my freaking receipt paper, when I get a receipt for money in abundance. Like, that's the kind of thing that I find is connecting for me. It's not always about the fancy stuff. The fancy shit is cool, and also I'm a practical witch. And I weave my spells and my magic into everything that I do. One of the first things I did when I moved out here to Kingman, our family, Dan's family, is they're farmers. And so their farmland, I'm actually sitting on our farmland right now. And so I used to go around and I still do occasionally, when I think about it. And I bless the land. I bless the crops. I bless, I feed energy and nourishment back into the soil after the crops have been harvested. And before planting, I always bless the fields and, for a good harvest. So to provide for my family and, whatever your opinion is on farming, that's fine. My point is that we get to choose what we do with our magic. We get to choose how we want to bless people and also how we take care of the land. I have spent the last 3 years planting trees on my property and creating natural wildlife. And I'm not trying to like brag or say anything like that. It's just like I get to choose. I get to choose how I use my magic, and I also get to let everybody else live their journey too. And that's like number 3. That's a lead in into number 3. What does it mean to be a witch? Well, it means allowing other people to walk their path and me forging my own. That's what it means to be a witch. It means to forge your own path in a way that resonates with you, that's really true to who you are and is not just following the mold because that's what somebody said to do. I understand in the beginning when you are first learning how to do something, you do follow people. I did. I did spells that I read from books, and I practiced a lot of formal things with the sabbats, with the holy days of the year, whether it's the equinoxes, the solstices, or the cross quarter days. I learned a lot. I read a lot of books. Ow! A bug got me. I read a lot of books. I did a lot of things, and you know what? What happened is by me doing that, I found my own way. I found my own beliefs. I took what resonated with me, and then I left what didn't. In the very beginning, I was exploring Wicca and the actual religion of Wicca, and had considered becoming a part of that religion. I chose not to in the end because I realized that I didn't want, I came out of a religion and I did not want to go back into one. Because I feel like while there are amazing things about having a community like that, that still, even though it wasn't, it's outside the Abrahamic faiths or anything like that, that a religion is still religion, and it still has like these defined set of rules that you're supposed to believe in and not supposed to believe in. And to me, that didn't sit right with me. I'm a fluid person whose beliefs changed often. I have a continually evolving belief structure, and that belief system is shaped by my experience. It's shaped by the people that I am exposed to. It's shaped by my environment. It's shaped by what I read, what I hear. And so for me, being in a set, rigid box of belief systems just doesn't work for me. Maybe a part of that is because I'm a reflector and in human design, and I reflect back the environment around me, and so I really don't have like a set system of rules that fit for me. But I know there are also a lot of people who identify, and maybe you're one of them. Maybe you're one of those people who feel like being in a box of a certain set of beliefs is really confining. And if that's the case, then I encourage you to create your own beliefs and realize that you get to change them. Always. They are always evolving as you evolve as a person. The beliefs that I have now, I have been claiming that word witch since, it's been 5 years now that I've been claiming that word as my own, and incorporating that and weaving that into my identity. And I would say my belief systems are very different now. I have much different things that I focus on, and my power has grown in different ways, and things that I focused on at the beginning are not what I focus on now, and that's okay. So at the end of the day, it also, hey Luna, come here. It's also really important to realize that everybody else has their own paths too. I think that's one of the most difficult things for me when I talk to other people who have rigid belief systems, is that they believe that theirs is right and that other people's are wrong. I think even in the pagan community, that can happen. When people have different experiences about the encounters they've had with the gods or goddesses, or their different views on nature, or how the holidays are supposed to be celebrated, or, that word supposed to, right? Ugh. Ouch. Or that, if people are saying, this is how you're supposed to do a spell, not that, or, you're supposed to do, you're supposed to walk in winter shins, and blah, 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 blah. Like, okay, well, all fine and dandy. And of course, again, if we're talking about formal ceremonies, I understand there's like structure to it, and I get that. But at the end of the day, there's no right or wrong way to be a witch. I think that you get to decide that for yourself. You get to decide the kind of person you want to be, and that's the kind of witch you get to be too, right? You get to decide. And I believe that everyone, I don't believe that everyone is entirely bad or entirely good, right? We all have the capability to do both, and I believe as a witch we also have the power to do both. I really think we're all great witches around here, right? At the same time, you get to choose. And you also get to choose to allow other people to walk their paths too. So, thank you so much for listening. I encourage you, if you watch this whole video, to really explore, maybe do some journaling, or consider what does it mean to you to be a witch? Why does that word resonate with you? What is it about the idea of witchcraft that actually appeals to you? Is it the spellcasting? Is it the nature? Is it the aesthetic? Is it the, crystals? Is it the cards? What is it about that appeals to you? And go follow that path. Those are like little breadcrumbs. They're, like Hansel and Gretel, like follow the breadcrumbs into the woods. It's, you get the opportunity to write a story based on the things that light you up. And so if there's something that's interesting to you, then follow that. Let that be your starting point, and don't get intimidated about, oh, am I doing it right? Am I doing it wrong? Toss that out the window. If you're doing it and you bring this intention and joy and love and peace with you as you're doing it, then I believe that you're doing it right, So thank you so much for joining, and I hope that your journey as a witch may be blessed, may it be enlightening, and may it be joyful.